what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up a project that I'm currently in the process of auditing. Okay. And a lot of what I do right now is taking people's half built, quarter built, 75% built products, going through the code base on the back end, and then going through the front end, the user experience, and then telling them how they can improve. Because I have so much time into this at this point, I can see these patterns, I can see these trends, and I can help people really save themselves a lot of headache that they're going to run into if they don't have someone like me come in and help them out. So that's what we're going to do today. It is a small background on the client. This is a person that sells a water purification software, if I understand correctly. And we're in the early phases, so I'm not fully understanding. So I'm not like fully briefed on what exactly they're doing. And I'm trying to understand it from the code base, like ground up. And then we're going to have a client conversation. We're going to tell me a little bit more about how they use it. And then we're going to come together. We're going to create a deck. And I'm going to give them recommendations on how to build. And if they want us to build it, then we will go and build it. Okay. Once again, this product here is something that a client built for themselves, that they are basically creating SOPs for their industry. It's a wastewater and water treatment industry where the types of SOPs that they need, as you can see, relate to the different tools and things like this. So they have kind of someone go in here, type in what they're using, and then these individual things can go and give them SOPs. So this is the end SOP, how to use it, the purpose and scope, the safety, and then all these other sections. This stuff here, I'm actually looking at for the first time. I was doing some preliminary stuff, just kind of going over navigation, UX, the code base on the back end, and then just looking at all this just to see what people have, or just to understand it a little bit on the high level view. And now I'm getting into a bit more specifics after hooking up the LLM that they use. One big problem about this thing already has been that the navigation is just bad. Like I can't get back to the home, the main feature, which is not good. Okay, where is it? Dashboard. There we go. So we need a home button. First and foremost, we definitely need a home button because this is your main feature. Problem number one with this product is that it currently has a main feature and no home page. The home page is the main feature, which doesn't work well in practice. A home page needs to be something that explains what the thing is doing and how the user is going to use it. The main feature is where that person is actually putting that into action. Sometimes they can be combined into one, but a lot of times it's actually not as useful to do that. You want someone to have all the information that they need to understand what they're getting into, and then you want them to take a small action to go into the next phase. This is not like a landing page where you want minimal resistance. You want at least one touch of resistance in order to get someone to kind of show intent and then make sure that you're not just getting spam people inside. I've built something in the past where you had like an open sign up and there was a spam problem. And even once we added CAPTCHA and we had some security and stuff, it was an issue. So what I'd recommend is just making a human action. Yes, you are adding more friction, unfortunately, but for the people that you actually want to get in there, they'll take that action. It's not that big a deal. Add one small point of friction. Friction can be a good thing. Okay. So this is what we're looking at now. This is a home page plus a main feature trying to be in one. And I don't think it flows. It doesn't really follow principles of good design. For one, there's a lot of space that could be used on the left and right hand side here. When, if you look at this, we could probably just combine this into one main hero section. And this icon is taking up too much space. I don't like it. And this icon here is also taking about as much space, and I don't like it. It's one or the other, in my opinion. If you have a logo or an icon, choose one. Don't have an inconsistency between them. Make it off to the side. Make it like a nice brand. You're not trying to be Gucci where you're splashing it everywhere. If you're a product, it's the product first, and then the branding comes after the people associate a working product with it, right? It's not fashion in the sense that you want like large, you don't want like a large area or surface area where people are like, oh, it's that brand, right? You got to think of more like luxury brands that are very quiet. They just have like a small like chest thing right there. Not like the Gucci's of the world where it's like Gucci, 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 right? Because with clothing specifically, like there's not a lot of like use for it, right? It's just you throw it on, a shirt's a shirt, a pant's a pants. Does it fit? Yeah, but it's about like the visual. With the product, you need to make sure it works. So the visual should kind of take a step back. So these icons, I would reduce it by one, and I would move this SOP builder title off into the side. And I would also try to avoid any acronyms, right? SOPs, standard operating procedures. Yes, it is like a common term, but once again, like you just want to avoid any sort of confusion. Again, being too clever. You don't want to be too clever. You want to be clear. So that's what's happening here. And essentially, this area is doubled up right here. This area is the exact same thing in purpose as this area right here. You have a title with an icon with a subtitle explaining it. And then you have a title with an icon with a subtitle explaining it. We don't need that twice, right? And this is what I notice in a lot of these bills that I analyze and audit is that these people, have gone into these bolts and lovables and replets, and they start to prompt and reprompt and prompt and reprompt and prompt and reprompt. And it's actually hard to delete stuff, right? It's funny that it's just like a commonality of humans that we are so much better at adding things to a problem, at like putting in more gas into the fire. And it's so harder to let go and to remove stuff. It is very true when it comes to your habits, when it comes to just your life and how you solve things. And then when it comes to product design, it is actually harder to remove things, but it's so much freeing. It's so much more freeing, more liberating, and it's so much more relaxing when you remove stuff, right? If you think about like the amount of softwares you have to use more generally, right? If you think about a project manager, a billing platform, a website server, and all these things that you have to use on a daily, weekly basis as a business owner, you're probably like hoping for the day that you can remove a subscription or remove a thing or something like that, right? And even like, let's just talk about movies and streaming services. If you have Hulu, if you have Netflix, if you have Tubi, and if you have, Paramount, and then you have Disney, like it can be so frustrating, and it can be like you're running a lot of things at once when you're just trying to watch a movie. And if you just committed to Netflix and that's what I get, sometimes it's actually better, right? This is called the paradox of choice. The paradox of choice, they ran a study and they said, or they sent people into an ice cream shop. The ice cream shop had either like 80 flavors or 3. And they went to the people afterwards, and the people that went in and had the 80 flavor selection were less satisfied with their choice than the people that had a 3 flavor selection, right? And the reason why is because the human mind is always asking themselves, like, could I get better? Could I get better? And when you have 80, you have a higher potential of being like, oh, I could get better, right? So relating back to this, you want to keep it simple so that the user doesn't feel overwhelmed, like they're clicking the wrong button or they're going to the wrong screen. And also they just have a clear offer, right? Going back to the ice cream example, if someone said, you want 1 scoops or 2 scoops, that's it, right? It's like, okay, I'll take 2 scoops or 1 scoop. That's it. And then it's like $5 or $7. Very simple, right? You would love that, right? But if someone was like, okay, we have a 1 scoop, but there's a 5% tax on it because of the cup. You can do a cone, but it's not a waffle. A waffle is going to be soft like a cone, but it does take 2 extra minutes. And then you have a waffle plus a cone plus a cup. The tax gets removed if you do that combo. And then if you add in a second scoop, then you get the waffle cone and for free, an additional one. So you might as well get a second one. That is so confusing. And people are just going to leave. People are like, what are you talking about? I just want to eat my ice cream, right? So it's so funny. Like I don't I don't judge this thing in people. I don't judge this concept in people because it is hard to just remember. It's hard to just remember. But because you think, oh, I'm going to offer them so much. I'm going to give them so much. I'm going to give them so much. I'm going to give them so much. They're going to have all the answers and all the things that they could want. They're going to have all the options and all the opportunities they could ever want. But truly, people want something good delivered simply. People want something good delivered simply, right? One of my favorite places to eat a burger is In-N-Out Burger, right? In-N-Out Burger, I know my order. It's consistent. It happens all the time. I can add a Coke or remove a Coke, but that's about it, right? I don't have to go through all these like combos. I don't have to look at the big arch or the McRib or all these crazy things. Even though I love McDonald's, sometimes with their promotions and stuff, it's like get a 2 for $20, get a 3 for $5, get a 1 for $1 plus another one. Then if you buy this burger, then you add this burger, but then you use our app, then it's a whole nother thing. And then we love you, McDonald's, have it your way or whatever it's called. And sometimes I just want to go to In-N-Out Burger. I say, give me a double animal style, protein style, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing. So a big tangent on simplicity, right? A big tangent on simplicity because it is huge, okay? We can't have, as product designers, we can't have this doubling up of surface space. And specifically so because this is literally 2/3 of the hero section. And the hero section is by far the most important to any website, any page, product, or anything. The hero section is the most valuable real estate. It is the thing that people are guaranteed to land on if they land on your product. If they click on your URL, it is the thing that they see for sure. You don't know if they're going to scroll down. You don't know if they're going to make it to the bottom of the page. Don't hide anything. The hero section should be your most valuable real estate. It's your front door. It is the first picture on Tinder, okay? It is the number one thing that they see. So make it good. And this one is performing a fundamental sin of using 2/3 of it, 2/3 of it to do not much. You see where my mouse is? 2/3 of it to do not much. So we need to change that. Okay, we need to change that. And right now, I'm not going through the changes because again, I'm just going through an audit and I'm letting the business know that these are issues and we're going to fix them. But I'm going to make myself some notes. So if I go into my notes over here, I'm going to say going into the user experience section, we're going to talk about onboarding clarity. And I had a little bit of this. I think everything is going to be triggering AI detectors these days. I wrote basically all of this myself, except for the outline, which is crazy, man. What I want to do is I want to type in hero section. And I'm going to just say what I was telling y'all. This is by far the most important real estate of any website, app, or landing page. It must convey the purpose and ease of use or ease of the tool. I can change this later. Currently, 2/3 of the page, of the page is spent on an icon, title, and subtitle that explains very little. The hero section should be optimized to reduce visual noise and explain the product as simply as possible to new users. And we're going to go potential headlines. I'm going to go potential subheadlines. I never know if is it headlines or headings. A headline is the main title of a news article story. A heading is a title or subtitle used to break up an organized section. Headline, heading, H1. So I'm thinking heading. Heading is the one that I want. So we're going to do potential heading. I'm going to do H1 heading. I don't know. Sometimes I throw in some technical terms in there and I just don't want it to be too much, but yeah. So the hero section and the onboarding clarity are quite similar, right? You want the hero section to do a fair amount of the explaining, and you want the onboarding clarity to be smooth and simple as well. Onboarding can take a couple different forms. It can be as simple as scrolling through a page here, and then you know what to do. Or it can be multi-steps where you get the person to sign up, log in, make an account, confirm their account, and all these different things, right? And technically, onboarding on like a software product design level is that whole sign-up thing. But on an analysis level, onboarding can be as simple as their first use. Okay, so we've already talked about how this is a waste of visual space. So we're going to zoom past this a little bit and just start here. Right now, this here is trying to still do more of what this is doing up here. So this is all like explanation, but it's just not clean. It's not clear. It is just maybe these three things can be tightened up and then one title, and then we move on to the actual stuff. These features are kind of adding into what this is, but if I were like a user, I'd already be so like lazy, just like overwhelmed visually with all this stuff here that I probably wouldn't even read this. And I still don't know what this thing does. It says create standardized operating procedures for water and wastewater treatment plant equipment and processes. Create comprehensive SOPs by combining information from these sources, staff notes, safety data. So you're saying like create an SOP from a SOP almost as a manual, and then it's just like procedures, uploads, and stuff. Okay, still hard to feel the value of something like this, right? And so I'm not of this industry. I don't know water treatment. I don't know water processing, but I know how to kind of convey value of things. And right now, I can tell you that this is not really speaking to the fundamental use case of what this is. So this whole hero section really needs to change. Secondly, once we're past the hero section, you're still selling. You're still selling. And then this image doesn't really do a lot of clarifying of what this is. I see a laptop and I can't really even make out the original. I can't make out what's on the screen here. It's too small. I don't see anything. It just looks like a laptop mock-up. So this doesn't, again, still selling me, and I don't know what we're being sold. And so now we're here. And now it's asking us for actions, right? As you can see, if I put my mouse on it, it hovers. And so that's an indication of clickable stuff. And so now you have these three buttons, which changes a lot of things. And this is another situation of being clever and not clear, because as a user, this would actually kind of scare me. I'm like, I don't know which one's the right one. I don't know how to do it. So I click into how it works. How it works is a lot more information as well. And I would think that this is kind of stuff that's been already figured out. And I'm not even reading this. I'm clicking through and my brain is going, this is a lot. This is a lot. What do I do here? And I'm just going to click around. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me click this. And then we're on a dashboard that, again, is even more information thrown in our face. We probably don't know what to do with. And I think if you're a new user, you actually don't even have access to the dashboard. This is because I'm kind of signed in right now, but this is like a weird area to take someone in right away, right? So, and now I can't go back. So I forgot how to go back. Let me go dashboard. Oh, dashboard. And so two things are named dashboard as well. Okay. So look at this. I click SOP management dashboard. On the top right hand side, it says create a new SOP dashboard, SOP. So it's clicking back to the, you see how the navigation is kind of wonky because it's not clarifying where things are going and where things are. So a lot of issues. I'm trying to stay on track to just analyze the front page here. But first and foremost, what I would say is that this is having the same problem of the section above. So the same way that the section above was doing a lot of different things to try to sell me on what this thing actually does, why it's valuable, and why you want it, and it ended up being just more confusing than what it could be. Same thing down below. This thing is asking me to do quite a few things, and it's not clear what I could do, and it's just causing me to feel overwhelmed and feel like I don't even know what you're asking me to upload here. What are you asking me to upload here? What's this? This is, in fact, maybe even the more useful thing, but it's not helping me. And so this is another problem. And then what's this? Start building SOP. I don't even know what this is. But now, after having looked at this a little bit more, I understand that this is the main feature. So we're having such a poor introduction into the main feature, and the feature can be very useful, but it's a very poor introduction to it, right? If you're a good guy or a good girl and you don't know how to dress, you don't know how to talk, you don't know how to chit chat, you're not going to go on many dates, right? And it's a poor introduction into something that is really good, right? Leaving page. Yes, leave the page. Cancel. I don't. Oh no. There we go. Very confusing to even leave a page. So at this point, I'm going to have to lock in and make some edits to this and potentially show the client what this could be. Okay. I want to work on this a little bit because I need to understand a little bit more of what these SOPs are, like what the end purpose is for these SOPs. And I'm going to assume right now that it's going to be clarity, right? First and foremost, you want clarity. For any standard operating procedure, the goal is typically clarity. The goal is clarity, accountability, and just or kind of reusability of a process and piece of information. Meaning, someone who's going to read these SOPs is going to refer to them to do something that has been done before, and people want them to do it in the same exact way. So you want to show that clarity and you want to sell that clarity. Okay. I don't have a full design just yet, but I will show you something that I've been working on that is potentially going to be the thing that replaces this. So I was using Claude Design. I'm not married to Claude Design. I do like Claude Design right now. I've been testing it out though, as well as some other things. And I'm just going to see which one ends up being like the one that I want. But for right now, here's an example of something of what could be much better, a way to sell all this stuff. So here, if I could maybe put this away, I don't know how to put this away. I don't know how to do anything just yet. You can see already standard operating procedures built with rigor. And there's maybe the 3 points here. I think this is still too busy. I think this can be simplified further, but there's 3 points here. And then down below, you have the how it works, this little kind of timeline, which again, I could simplify probably into 3. I could cut this in half. And then you have the 4-step process here, which is a great kind of visual tool, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ingest, structure, refine, approve, and publish. And this is more along the lines of like a clean explanation. And again, this is kind of a work in progress. I still don't like this all the way, but I do think it's better. And then when you come into like the main feature, then you have the different kind of style selection, the equipment SOP, process SOP, laboratory SOP, even though I don't think there's like that much going on. So I don't even know if this is really necessary as far as like the differences between the two. I think you should, or you should try to eliminate as many choices as you can to get someone their first result and introduce the refining and stuff later. Like Claude Design, as an example, is something where you only start off with like import, attach, or type. And then later it goes in here and it says, what would you like to edit in here? And then you can do all these different little things, right? If I asked you all these different little things in the front end, you'd be like, I don't even know, man. I just want to get my idea out on paper, right? So same kind of concept. You just want to get your idea out on paper and all that. And this below is still kind of up for debate. And this here is also up for debate. And then there's also a lesson or a version below of something that's a bit more chat oriented. And then something that has, just a light scheme rather than a dark scheme. That being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit more time to analyze this and roast this and to make this a little bit simpler as far as like what we're trying to understand and the actual end outcomes. We're going to take it back into Claude Design. I'm going to showcase what I can do as far as like a design level. And then we're going to use those principles. The 3 principles we're going to focus on is clean visual hierarchy, being clear and not clever, and then hiding the technical stuff, right? Making the technical stuff just disappear, waving your wand and letting the client know this is something that we do on a daily basis, something I do on a daily basis. I'll make it simple for you. I'll make it scalable for you. I'll make it work for you. You go on the ride, you get in your car, press the gas pedal down, you go fast. You don't know about gas, you don't know about carburetors, you don't know about engine cylinders, you don't know about seals, you don't know about anything valve oriented or anything like that. Get in car, push down pedal, car go fast. That's how I want to make it for you.